What's up to the good people? Let's get it going. Let's get it going. We got so much going on today. So much going on. Let's get it started. Happy Resurrection Sunday to my Christian brothers and sisters. About to have us a good show. You can only imagine how I must be feeling right now. And so, yes, this was Easter weekend. So, Good Friday celebration. Preached a little bit. Resurrection Day celebration, preached a little bit, and so we've been doing what we've been called to do, and so no complaints. But I said, all right, listen, I could take the weekend off from doing a live, but I said, no, 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 no. Let's give the people their content. Let's do good by the people, and so let's get it going. Let's get it going. We jumping on Sundays during the summertime. Sundays we might do our shows 4:30 to about 6:30. When the fall comes back around, when football comes back, I'm not messing with Sundays, and so we'll do these shows for now on Sunday. Let's get it going. Check in. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know how the weather is where you are. Let me get myself situated. Let me get myself together. So again, happy Resurrection Sunday. I pray that you had a great time. I pray that you found yourself in somebody's church. Yes, on this channel, we talk about God. We talk about church. We talk about Jesus. Yeah, we smoke cigars. Yeah, we got guns. Yeah, we drink whiskey. But we ain't afraid to talk about our Lord and Savior, Jesus the Christ. And so we about to get it going. I'm about to pour me something. I'm celebrating. Look, we've been enjoying the Lent season, and now we're just gonna unwind. I'm gonna pour me a healthy pour of some Knob Creek. This is the 25th anniversary. Knob Creek. I'm keeping it old school. Old school. That's what we doing. It's an old school cigar show. We going old school. And tonight, we're gonna go old school. Tonight I'll smoke me an old school cigar. I got me a favorite of mine. You know, old school. We going old school. Alec Bradley Prensado. Going old school. It's just an old school cigar show. And so that's going to be the premise of what we're talking about. Just some old school stuff. I didn't realize I was so old school. Yeah. Sometimes in life, you just look up one day and you realize that, man, I think I'm the OG. I think I'm the old man. Because all my life, I always been the youngin'. You know, I always been the shorty. I always been the young guy hanging out with the old heads. One day I looked up and I realized that I'm the old head. I'm the OG. I'm the elder. I'm 46 years old. But I realized that I am old school. You ever been in a place and somebody say, "Hey, old school," and you realize he talking to you. I'm old school now. I'm OG. When I walk into a building with a young man, the young man holds the door open for me, and he'll be like, "Hey, go ahead, sir." I'm old school now. And so we just gonna have us an old school cigar show. You've been watching the content, and I'm just back to just doing. Listen, new cigars are good, but I'm in a space where I'm just doing that. I'm doing old stuff, old school stuff. The old school stuff been good, is good, will always be good. And so what's up, my frat brothers? If you're here, go ahead and represent. So I got me an Alec Bradley Prensado. I got me some Knob Creek, just some old school stuff. What's up, Ryan? About to have us a good show. And so yeah, we switched to live Sundays during the summertime. This way I can play golf throughout the week. This way I can hang out with my family on a Friday evening. You've been enjoying the content that's been coming out. And so the content will continue to come out. And so you're going to get you about 2 to 3 high quality videos every week. We're going to do our live every week. We're going to drop some shorts on you. And so we talk about the best cigar in my collection. Last week we talked about the best cigars to age. That's a big thing. That's an old school tactic. Buying cigars, then aging them. We talk about my new favorite cigar. We talk about that, and that's what kind of led to tonight. I talk about that Aganorsa leaf, Supreme leaf, and so many of you, listen, God honest truth. I just went on this one website that I usually go to buy cigars. They're all sold out. Supreme leaf is all sold out. So many of you have said, yes, I went and bought a box. And it warms my heart. It warms my heart when I hear people say, yes, I bought a box. I got no idea what it's going to taste like, but based off of your recommendation, I'm buying a box. And so many of you have done that. So yeah, my word is my bond. I'm not going to tell you a cigar is good if it ain't good. There's never been a cigar I've ever recommended and anyone's ever come back and said it wasn't good. And so you guys have gone out and you have bought that Aganorsa leaf, Supreme leaf. They're all sold out everywhere. I can't even find them anymore. And so I learned before I do a video, let me make sure I got enough of them. But that's like my new favorite cigar right now. It's an older cigar. I mean, this is the 2026 release of it, but they've been putting these cigars out for a long time. Just brilliant. It's a brilliant cigar. It's a wonderfully complex while yet subtly great cigar. And so we'll talk about some of these just old school cigars like that. I'm enjoying. I had to check my collection to see how many of these do I still have left. I got about a handful left. Alec Bradley Prensado. Just a beautiful cigar. Just chocolatey, caramel notes, Honduran tobacco, finely rolled, wonderfully blended. And so we here. What's up, everybody? So again, happy resurrection. So you can only imagine how I'm feeling right now. Preached a little bit on Friday. Preached a little bit today. And now I'm here just to kick it with the people. Just to have an old school cigar show. So much stuff. Sometimes it don't seem like we do these kind of things anymore. Everything is new. Everything's in a different space. Everything is just changed. And so every now and again, I like to just bring us back to us. And that's all we're doing. We're just bringing us back to us. What's up, Bobby? What's up, Tito? What's up, Big Manny? Again, happy Resurrection Sunday. I hope everybody had a good time. Check in. Let me know what you're sipping on. So again, I got me some Knob Creek 25th anniversary. Just going to enjoy tonight. The crazy thing about my work and just my life is that I can have just a full weekend. I can preach, 2-3 times. I go back to work on Monday exhausted. But work don't care. My work just knows that, hey, it was a weekend. You're back. And so this show is for those who rise and grind. I'm sure I ain't the only one who work multiple jobs. And so, some of us, we just got to put the work in. That's what we do. So we work. We serve. We help. That's what we do. What's up, Francisco? Enjoying him in Olmec. Yeah, the weather where I am is pretty. I cannot complain about it. This is a beautiful spring day. So it's 4:45 my time. It's about probably 75 degrees out right now. Just a beautiful, just wonderful. I cannot complain about anything right now. Bobby's got him on Oliva Series V Lancero. That's good stuff. With a whiskey sour. Yeah, I got me this Prensado. You rise and grind, my friend. Get that work in. Let's see. He says, I'm old school at 46. I didn't know that I was. I did not know. And that's what the premise of today's show is going to be. I thought I was a young man. I just thought, in fact, I was at church today and I was talking with this one member. She's 75 years old. And she says, I'm older than the pastor. And I said, yes, you are. I said, you older than every pastor. You 75 years old. You older than most humans. I mean, I didn't say that. Well, I just kind of laughed that she said it. But I realized that at 46, I always thought I was a young man. I wanted to be young and be the young man, but I'm realizing that 46 ain't as young as it used to be. Dog father says, us grown folks still gotta spell stuff around you, so you don't know what we talking about. I'm here. I got enough wisdom. I'm here. What's up, Mr. Cash? Pray that you are doing well, my friend. What's up, everybody? My friend's got old Forester 1920. I gotta crack open my bottle of that. That's a wonderful pour. Love the 1920. What's up, everybody? What's up to my frat brothers, my sisters? You know what? I just gotta mention this. And so I'm from Miami. Y'all know I'm from Miami. Big fan of Trick Daddy. Trick Daddy's my guy. Apparently, Trick Daddy did a concert the other day for my sorority sisters, the AKAs. And apparently, they were a bit shocked, disturbed by his performance. And again, this is where I'm just talking about this old school stuff. Listen, if you from where I'm from, if you from when I'm from, you know Trick Daddy. I remember when Trick Daddy first came out. I grew up off a 2 Live Crew. And so when you say the AKAs booked Trick Daddy for a show, and the AKAs, they got ain't just the young ladies, they got the elder stateswomen. They booked Trick Daddy for a show, and then they shocked and surprised. And so that showed me, it made me say, do they not know who Trick Daddy is? Maybe it's just us old school brothers. Maybe we remember Trick Daddy and know Trick Daddy. And so we'll have some conversation about just some old school stuff. All right, folks is liking the Aganorsa Supreme Leaf. Yeah. All right, Big Manny. Serving at his church. And I'm so proud about what my church did the past week. Particularly the men of the church. And so right before your eyes, I formed a men's ministry at my church. I said, I need to bring the men together. So the men meet up, we fellowship, we have conversation, we go fishing, we just do manly stuff. And the men of the church, we went ahead today and we made breakfast for the whole church. And that was a lot of people. And so the men were at the church from like 7 this morning. They were there all last night, Thursday, just getting everything ready. And so it was a wonderful event. It was wonderful just to see the men come together. And as I was leaving today, one of the brothers, he said, Pastor, thanks for having this vision. And that really just touched me because that's all it was. It was just a vision of, can I bring the men together? They did all the work. I mean, they made biscuits and eggs and bacon, and they did all the work. But the one brother said, he said, you had the vision. You saw this before it even happened. And I'm proud. I'm proud of that moment. I'm proud about when you can have a vision, because I believe in masculinity. I believe in manhood. I believe in us. I believe we can get so much more done. So I believe in us. That's why I got this channel. The whole point of the channel is to say, hey, look, let me talk to the fellas. It ain't about whiskey and cigars. The point of this channel is to say, hey, look, can we talk? Can we have some conversation? Can we get back to us? Can we get back to some old school ways? Can we get back to manhood? Can we get back to serving our communities? Can we get back to being the men we're supposed to be? And so we're going to have some conversation today. All right, let me get caught up with the chat. I know I'm so behind as I'm enjoying this Alec Bradley Prensado, sipping some Knob Creek. Brother Chris has got him a nub with some water. So I'm making sure I hydrate. So I'm sipping on some Knob Creek, but I'm drinking water. And so take care of your body. Take care of your health. What's up, Vigilante Rasta? What's up, brethren? Happy Easter to everybody. Chris just celebrated his 43rd. Look, I think that's old school. We all old school at this point. We are all old school. All right. My frat brothers are here out in Tennessee. Well, he's having some Crown Heads with some Shannon Sharp whiskey. Root to the Q's, root to the bros. Bobby's got some Jameson with an Oliva V. All right, the men are here. The women too. We rep the Sisters of the Leaf, Brothers of the Leaf. And so I really just went back to smoking that Supreme Leaf, the Aganorsa. And I found myself saying, why did I stop? This cigar is amazing. It's a wonderful cigar. It was nostalgic. It took me down memory lane. And then the next day I smoked me the Warp or Guardians of the Farm. And so you just seen that video. And I said, this is another wonderful cigar. Just an amazing cigar. And last night I smoked me another cigar with Aganorsa leaf tobacco. So this is put out by Illusione. So I smoked the Illusione Privé. And I realized that the whole week I'm just smoking these old cigars. The cigars that came out like 10 years ago. You don't hear nothing about them. They're not hyped. But truth be told, they're so much better than a lot of stuff that's out now. I'm smoking me this Alec Bradley Prensado, and I'm loving this. I'm enjoying this. If I can be honest with you, I think last show I had me the new Plasencia, which is pretty good. I like the Alma del Cielo. I'm enjoying this a lot more than that. The show before that, I think I had me the Dunbarton Stillwell. I didn't even like that cigar. This is 10 times better than that. I'll tell you this. I'll give you a little heads up. I'm about to drop a video, probably about the next week or two, about the Atabey Black. And so I smoked that. I smoked that very recently. Might have been 2 days ago. I did a whole review on it. That's going to be coming out soon. Atabey Black. Expensive cigar. Like a $60 cigar. New stuff. The cigar was cracking on me. Falling apart. The cigar wasn't even that good. I would rather smoke this than the Atabey Black. And so I find myself saying, okay, well, what's up with all this new stuff? And so I want us to just talk about, we're going to talk about some old school stuff. We're going to just have us a good time. And so videos coming out. And so I think I'll be releasing my videos on Tuesday and Thursdays. Dropping some shorts on you throughout the week. Coming back with our live on Sundays. Videos coming out next week. We'll do one entitled Cigars is Just Not Worth the Money. Listen, I'm not trying to hurt nobody. I'm not trying to step on any toes, but I will save my friends some money. I'm not going Listen, I smoked that Atabey Black. That's a $60 cigar. I am going to tell my friends what I think. I'm not trying to hurt the company, but you'll see in the footage. You'll see as I'm smoking the cigar's falling apart on me. The cigar's cracking on me at the foot and at the head. The cigar was at best maybe an 8. $60. I'm gonna tell my friends the truth. I'm not gonna have my friends out here buying expensive cigars and the cigars aren't even that good. And so, yes, that's an old school mentality. We're gonna take care of each other. If I stumble onto something that's good, I'm gonna tell my friends. If I stumble onto something that's not good, I'm gonna tell my friends. That's the old school way. We hook each other up. And so, yeah, so many of you're now buying. Okay, God honest truth. All right, you don't believe me. I visit Luxury Cigar Club. That's where I get some of my cigars from. I jumped on there. I said, let me see about getting some cigars. I went and looked for my Supreme Leaf, sold out. Like, dang. Okay. All of a sudden, everybody liked the Agarosa Supreme Leaf. Nobody been talking about it. All of a sudden, it's sold out. I said, you know what else I like? I said, let me go check my Tatuaje Black. I can always find those, right? I scroll down the Tatuaje Black, sold out. I'm like, man. So this is the old school way where we help each other. I'm going to tell you what's good. And I know you guys rush right. Probably while you're watching the video, you guys go out and buy the stuff. And so I need to be smarter. I need to make sure I got enough before I even recommend them. But that's just the old school way. We tell each other what's good. We help each other out. And so I'm not mad at it. It's just friends helping out friends. So let's keep going. As my brother said, hit the like button. We about to dive into the show. Francisco said he was disappointed with a Ferio Tego. Listen, I said it wasn't good. I got into so much heat. The brand owner got all up. Listen, the brand owner was all up in the comments with comments and whatnot. I'm not trying to hurt nobody. If I smoke a cigar and I don't think it's good, I'm just going to say it's not that good. And usually my friends smoke it and they say, oh, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's an okay cigar. It's just overhyped. It's an above average cigar. And that's what I noticed in most of the Ferio Tegos. They're just above average. What's up, Ron? Yeah, that Patoro. Yeah, that one was hyped a couple years ago. It's so funny how these cigars get hyped and then you don't hear nothing about them anymore. I mean, I think that's fascinating. I think that the cigar was cigar of the year, but for some content creators, and now nobody talks about it. And the cigar last year was cigar of the year, and nobody talks about it anymore. We're just in April. A lot of this stuff is just hyped. A lot of it, there's no truth in this industry. It's just hyped. It's just about sales. It's just about telling you something. But I'm like, look, my channel's going to be a little bit different. I'm going back to the old school ways. I'm not just trying to hype up new products. I'm here to talk to my friends. Let my friends know about what's good and what's not good. All right, my brother's smoking him My Father Le Bijou 1922 solid cigar. All right. And Johnny also ordered. See, what I'm saying is real. Johnny ordered, and it's real right here, right in front of our eyes. He heard my recommendation, went and ordered him some Agarosa Leaf Supreme Leaf. That's why nobody can get it, because everybody ran off and bought them, which is all good. And listen, that's why we gave the recommendation. So, smoking me a classic Alec Bradley Prensado. I mean, it's easy if all I can do is just say, hey, here's a new cigar. Go buy it. Well, I don't really think that's helping my friends. How about letting my friends know about the classics? That's the price has probably been reduced. They probably got a lot of them sitting on shelves. All of them are probably well aged. So to me, that's a better help. For me to just tell my friends, "Hey, here's a new cigar. Run out and buy it." I don't see how that benefits you. But again, that's just an old school mentality. And I'm an old school guy. All right, everyone's still trying to get them some Aganosa Leaf Supreme Leaf. Now notice, nobody was talking about this cigar. But now all of a sudden, everyone's rushing to get it. It's sold out everywhere. All right, Brother Richard. Yeah, I'm feeling you, man. Listen, I didn't do a sunrise service. I've had some Easter weekends where I might have preached like 5 times, like a Good Friday and a sunrise service, and then like a Monday, Thursday, and then just nonstop. When I was younger, now I make sure I get in a good solid 2. I'm gonna do a Good Friday somewhere. 7 last words. I'm gonna be at my church doing my Resurrection Sunday. Now that I'm older, again, I remember one weekend. Yeah, I think I did about 5 sermons in about a 2-day span. Yeah, and now I got a little bit more wisdom. Brother Ron baked his wife a cake with his Resurrection Sunday. Happy birthday to your wife. So again, this week we're coming out with dropping a video on cigars that's not worth the money, and then cigars that I'm addicted to. I'm using that word lightly, addicted. Just cigars I can't get enough of. And so we got the content coming out. You've seen the content already. One thing I also want to give a shout out to is my Patreon. So look, my Patreon is back. I mean, it was always there, but I admit I wasn't uploading to it anymore. So check out my Patreon. I'm back in my cycle and in my system where I'm going to be putting up about 2 to 3 videos there every week. And so you're going to get videos there that you won't get on YouTube. So check out the Patreon. It don't cost you a ton. It don't cost you nothing. The value from it is way more. You're paying like maybe $5 a month, maybe 7. I send you my cigar journal. You get entered into a raffle every month. And so we back on the Patreon. So make sure to check that out. And also, it's a great way to support the channel because I'm out here supporting the people. As I was driving home today, driving back from church, talking to my wife, and we were just talking about the channel, about where it is, about what's happening. So my wife, I guess you could say we started the channel together. You know, she's a graphic designer, but then now it's just me. It's just me. So she's kind of taking a step back. And so she said, "How's the channel going?" I said, you know what? I said, I've leaned into the identity of the channel. And I said, even today, the channel, I'm doing a show. I said, it's entitled just an old school cigar show. And what I was telling her is I'm leaning back into, and I have been leaning into the essence of what the channel is. And this channel, it ain't for everybody. It's clearly not for everyone. It's bigger than a cigar channel. It's bigger than a whiskey channel. It's a channel where I'm going to come on here, pray. I'm going to come on here and tell you about church. Last week, I was talking about guns. I'm going to come on here and talk about maybe fragrances, whiskeys, cigars, patriotism. I'm going to come on here and just talk to us. And one of the things that I know that I've done is, yes, I have on purpose alienated some people, on purpose pushed some people away, on purpose I've curated the channel. This channel It's an old school masculine vibe. That's what the channel is. It is it's welcoming for everyone. Certainly, our women, sisters of the leaf, give us a lot of love. Our young men, check it out. The older heads, check it out. But this channel, it just has a different vibe. I was trying to explain this to my wife. I said, you know how I said some people walk into a Starbucks and we just say black coffee. That's what we get. We don't have the app. We don't order the latest and the newest thing. We just order what we order. We know what we know. We know what we like. I'm smoking me a Prensado. I'm drinking me some Knob Creek. That's the typical lane of this channel. And that's really who the channel's for. It's for men who we understand who we are. And I don't know, and again, this is just the old school way of it. As I look at the cigar space now, I remember when Pokemon cards came out, and I'm not a Pokemon collector. I didn't collect the cards, but it was this new thing. And that was just a new thing. I'll just leave it at that. My brother Francisco says, there I go with the black coffee again. But I'm just using that as an example. All I'm saying is there are some spaces, and it tends to be for the younger people. Younger people tend to want change, constant change. For the younger person, they always want to, yes, they're going to have the latest clothes. They're going to have their cell phone is always going to be the latest. They're always going to have the newest apps. They're always going to know about just the newest stuff. The younger people. But for some of us OGs, us old heads, us Generation X, that's not really the lane that we operate in. We enjoy the new stuff, but that's not what we do. And then even as I think about cigars and the cigar space, it tends to be traditional. And so yes, I'm a man who's very comfortable in who he is. I'm a Christian man. I'm a Marine. I'm a father, husband, pastor, hardworking man. And that's who. It doesn't shock me that a lot of people who watch the channel have those same ideals and those same characteristics. My sister, the Leaf. Of course, listen, this channel, and I know my analytics. This is a cigar channel, whiskey, whatever you want to call it. Right now, about 15% of my viewers are Sisters of the Leaf. So one of the things I was telling my wife, I said, look, it's a channel where a guy is comfortable in who he is. He understands who he's talking to. He understands his demographic. He understands the conversation he's trying to have. And he's not trying to have the conversation with everybody. And what I said to my wife, God honest truth, is I'm driving back from church. I said, I want to have such great conversation that even though, yes, I'm a 46-year-old man, I know that women are going to listen and be able to vibe with the conversation. I know that younger men, Generation Alpha, Generation Millennials, they can listen and vibe and even correspond and we can chat, but they're going to understand where the channel's coming from. Again, the older people, the baby boomers, the 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, they're going to listen and they can understand what I'm saying. But one of the things I've done with the channel is I've leaned into who I am and what I am and what the channel is. I was very particular about that. I made sure that the channel isn't just going to be this place where it's not going to have this young man feel to it. And the problem with social media, and oftentimes in order to succeed, you got to do like the young man thing where it's always new stuff. Brand new stuff, new stuff, new stuff. And us seasoned gentlemen, we don't really operate like that. We listen. I bet you there's some guys on this live right now watching you. You drive an old school Cadillac. Listen, that's who we are. We know what we like, and we stick with it. We're comfortable with who we are, and we stick with it. We like who we are, and we stick with it. Now, can we experience and experiment with the new stuff? Yeah, every now and again, but we're always going to go back. Case in point, I was talking to my son the other day. J. Cole just dropped his album. I'm like, J. Cole, I like J. Cole. Yeah. I'm going to listen to the new J. Cole album, but then I'm going to go back to playing Biggie. I'm going to go back to playing Jay-Z. I'm going to go back to Nas. I'm going to go back to Locks. I'm going to go back to because that's what I like. And I know what I like, and I'm comfortable with what I like. And so this channel is very particular. And the thing that I noticed with the cigar space is it used to always have this mature feel to it. But I noticed, and that's probably 100% due to, yes, now you got younger people in the game. You got younger guys. You got guys who may be in their 20s. They're doing content. You got guys who maybe they're in their 20s and 30s and they're making cigars. In a lot of cases, you got maybe the cigar company owner, like the EP Carrillo. He's passed it down to his son. Or even the cigar I'm smoking right now, the Alec Bradley. He's passed it down. I believe his name is like Alan Rubin, something like that. He's passed it down to his sons. And now you got the second generation. We see that with Padron. We see that with Fuente. Where now it's a new generation and now it's a new thing. But even though you got younger people maybe running the companies now, doing the media now, I vowed I'm just going to be a platform for some old school ways. Because there ain't nothing wrong with the old school ways. There's a lot of truth in it. There's a lot of integrity in it. And truth be told, when you taste the cigars, most of the cigars just simply taste better. They tend to be more affordable, they're more findable, and they're just better. And so I said, look, I'm just going to stay in my lane. That's why I'm doing a show in 2026, smoking an Alec Bradley Prensado. There is nobody else. Nobody. There ain't no other cigar content creator who's talking about Alec Bradley Prensado. My last two videos, I'm talking about Aganorsa Supreme Leaf. I'm talking about Warp Guardians of the Farm. This is old school stuff. But just because it's old school don't mean it ain't still the best. And so we're going to have some conversation about this tonight. That's just my opening monologue, just to say, hey, look. I know who the channel is for. My wife said that to me as we were driving back. She says, I admire that about you. She says, you're not trying to chase after everybody. You are very clear-cut on who the channel is for. And I said, yeah, you got to have a vision in your mind. You got to have an identity. You got to know who you are. You got to know what the channel is for. I'm not just making content for the world. When I make a video, I think to myself, okay, this video is to help somebody. The picture I have in my mind is a 40-year-old man. He's probably newer to cigars. I want to give him some good information. He's solid in his life. He knows who he is. He understands his finances. He knows what he likes. He knows his palate. Just give him a video. That's why it ain't too much to explain. You can't explain taste to a grown man. You can't tell a grown woman what something's gonna taste like. And so I try to do my videos like I'm talking to an adult, like I'm talking to a parent, to a manager, like I'm talking to a pastor, like I'm talking to someone who's been around the block. And so I tried to not demean you. I'm not going to give you 75 tasting notes because I wouldn't listen to that. I would be insulted if somebody telling me what's something. Listen, tell me if the cigar is good or not. That's all I need you to do. Let's have a grown-up conversation. And so that's where my content is like that. It's with every video as I'm talking to the camera, I say to myself, picture you talking to that 40-year-old man. He just got off of work. He got the kids in the background. He got his wife. He just trying to watch a quick video to get some quick information, some quick entertainment. And so tell him real fast what the cigar tastes like. Tell him something else because he needed a quick 10 minutes to relax and then move on. And so that's the premise of the channel. That's who we are. And that's what we do. Brothers talking about, yeah, back in the days, there used to be people who would try to troll. I think that's the word that the youngins use. The thing about this channel, it's so hard to troll this because this channel is a vibe. The live is a vibe. This is the lounge. And a lot of that new world stuff don't work here. All the trolling and all this. Listen, hype doesn't work here. BS doesn't work here. Trolling doesn't work here. This is the grown-ups hanging out in the lounge. This is a vibe. And so if you're enjoying this so far, we haven't even started. We 42 minutes in. We still on the opening monologue. Hit the like button. We here on a Sunday night. I imagine most of you went to church. I pray most of you went to church today. We talk about God on this channel. We talk about Jesus. I'm a Christian man. We talk about everything. We talk about, listen, this is the grown folks show. We the grown-ups. The show ain't for everybody, but it's for us. So make sure you're hitting the like button. So again, I'm smoking me the Alec Bradley Prensado, just an old school cigar. Drinking me some Knob Creek. And we talking about, in fact, well, let's just y'all putting it all in the chat already. It's just the old school stuff. A good cigar. One of my favorites, the Florida Antillas. Now, I love the 10th anniversary. I mean, that's just one of my top 10s for life. But just the basic ones, if you want to get you just listen. I heard someone say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's that old school mentality. So many of these cigar companies, they want to tweak it. They like to change stuff, mess with stuff. That's a young man's game. Were you always trying to adjust, change it? The cigars that a lot of these companies was putting out back in the days, when you look at My Father, when you look at the Florida Antillas, it got Cigar of the Year for a reason. Because it's just balanced. It's tasty. They were able to price it. The cigar cost like $8. It's balance is the word that comes to mind. Is it super complex? Is it bold? Is it explosive? No. But some of us, when we smoke a cigar, we trying to chill. Some of us, when we smoke a cigar, listen, the cigar ain't the star of the show. We the star of the show. We had a long day. We drinking something. We chilling. We relaxing. We having a conversation in the Florida Antillas. So My Father has mastered how to do that. I've said to you guys before, I don't love the My Father Blue. But if I'm having a breakfast cigar, I'm reaching for the My Father Blue. The My Father Florida Antillas. And so they've got it in a regular. They came out with the Maduro. They've come out with the San Andreas version. They have mastered. Here's what My Father. So Here's what my father cigar has mastered. And so many of you guys are talking about it. Listen, I'm just glancing at the chat. My father, Floridian Tears. If we want to talk about old school, grown-up cigar, the cigar for so there's a term that's also used. I hear people say cigar nerds. I'm a cigar nerd. Look, I'm not a cigar nerd. I'm not. My generation, we didn't throw around the term nerd. Nerd was a bad thing. You didn't want to be no nerd. The cigars I recommend is for just what I call the grown-ups. And my father, I think they have mastered the grown-up cigar. Listen, I did not come to say all this. I don't even know where I'm going with this, but I know where I'm going with this. When you hit 40 years old, 45, 50, when you sit down and smoke a cigar, this ain't no, listen, it's beyond just a hobby. For some of us, after we done had a long day, we done went to work, we dealing with kids. Some of us, you got a wife and an ex-wife. Some of y'all got multiple ex-wives. Listen, we got stuff going on. Cigars ain't necessarily the star of our life, but the cigar is that thing that's going to allow us to chill the heck out. And so you can only imagine my life. I got days where I'm in work all day, then go to the church. So by the time as I get home, I'm trying to chill. I'm not trying to experiment with no cigar notes and flavors. I need a cigar that's solid, a cigar that's not going to bore me, a cigar that's going to keep me interested, a cigar that I can afford and I can find, a cigar that's going to pair well with whatever I'm drinking, because the cigar ain't the star. So when I sit down on a Sunday night, I got me a little whatever, whether you got a whiskey or some cognac or whatever's your poison, and you just want something that's going to go with it. My father has mastered how to do that. So we want to talk about old school, grown up cigars. That's what my father's mastered. And this is what I think a lot of people, maybe the more younger guys, can't understand. That they can't figure out what's the allure from my father. And yes, in fact, I was watching, and I'm not throwing shade. I'm just having a conversation here. I was watching this one show. It's a great YouTube channel. It's called Cigar, Creekside Cigar. So I guess they're a cigar lounge out in the Ohio area. Much love to what they're doing. They have a great channel. Looks like they have a great lounge. But you can tell that these are, they're younger. They're some younger gentlemen. And whenever they talk about my father, they kind of, make fun of it. Because they're more about the boutique. And they always make fun of my father. And they say it almost like in a disrespectful way, in my opinion. But if I could ever sit down with them, I can say, hey, look, here's what you're not getting. When that 40-year-old man gets off of work, he trying to chill. He's not a cigar nerd. The cigar isn't the star of the night. He might have worked a double shift. That man is tired. His feet hurt. He trying to chill for an hour. And so, yeah, he might have him something to drink. He might have him some coffee. He might have him some tea. He might have him a soda. He can't drink too much soda because his diabetes, his sugars might be up. He can't drink too much soda. His blood pressure might be up. He need to chill. Now, if he's a guy like me, if he's gonna have a little whiskey, a little cigar, a little something, he wants a cigar that's gonna blend perfectly with his coffee, blend perfectly with his whiskey. It ain't about the cigar. It's about that moment that he's trying to have. And he needs a cigar that he can afford. Why? Because he might have to take care of this household and another household. This man got 401k payments. This man got student loans. He might have some back taxes to pay. This man got some stuff going on in his life. And so when he sit to smoke a cigar, he wants that $8 cigar to work. It don't have to knock his socks off. It doesn't have to be all complex. It's gotta work. For instance, I'm smoking me this Alec Bradley Prensado. It's a cigar that works. Now, if you get this to like a 25-year-old and say, smoke this, he's gonna say, oh, yeah. My father has mastered how to make cigars. And if you wonder why they always get cigar of the year, they've mastered how to make a cigar for Generation X. I hate to say it that way. They've mastered how to make a cigar for the baby boomer. It ain't gonna be no exotic cigar, but it's going to work. And so when you smoke the Floridian Tears, it's gonna pair perfectly with anything. It's got that strong Nicaraguan tobacco. When you say something like, what else my father put out? The Judge. You want a strong cigar. When you get your barrel proof whiskey, because you had a barrel proof whiskey kind of day, the My Father Judge is gonna work. When you drinking your strong black coffee, and you gonna get you that My Father Le Bijou 1922, that's gonna pair perfectly. When you just trying to chill, maybe you on the golf course, maybe you cleaning up your garage, you want a cigar that's just gonna be easy going. You reach and get you that My Father Blue. And so there's some cigars out here that I think that sometimes we're not even having the right conversation. And so there's some people who say, oh, I'm a cigar nerd. Okay, that's cool. That's fine. There's a whole place for that. But most people who buy cigars, yeah, they ain't cigar nerds. They working men and women, and they looking for a cigar that's just going to work. It's got to be priced right. It's got to be no frills. It's got to taste right. You got to have some halfway decent taste to it. And it's got to stand up. And so, again, I'm drinking some Knob Creek. This is 120 proof. I can't be smoking no light Connecticut with this. I mean, there's entire brands that come out like J. London and those kind of cigars. Listen, you can't smoke no J. London and drink 125 proof Knob Creek on a Sunday evening after you done preached twice this weekend and you got to go back to work tomorrow. Listen, I need me a real cigar that's going to really do the job. And so sometimes I think that's really the conversation that we're not having. Because for some of us, smoking a cigar, it ain't about the cigar. And people always wonder, like, what's the fascination with my channel? It ain't got nothing to do with cigars. I'm talking about life experiences. Like my friends are saying, look, we're giving you life advice. Tito says, listen, this is therapy and cigars. Make sure y'all hitting the like button. We just getting started. We an hour in. We listen, I haven't even made my first point yet. Make sure you're hitting the like button. We here. Just trying to bring some good content, have some good conversation. This is the old school way. This is why when you sit in a cigar lounge, you don't really see all them boutique cigars. Them boutique cigars is hit and miss. All right, listen, I've been doing this long enough to tell you this. Them boutiques is hit and miss. Alec Bradley Prensado, My Father, anything by My Father. That's not hit and miss. That's guaranteed. Those cigars work. You're not gonna light up a My Father Floridian Tears and have a bad experience. Is it gonna wow you? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But it's not gonna be hit and miss. In most of the boutiques, the cigars may be hit and miss, and even the blends may be hit and miss. That's why a lot of these companies, they come out with these cigars and they get hyped and then they fall off. They get hyped and you don't hear about them anymore. That's hit and miss. Ain't no 40-year-old man got no time for no hit and miss stuff. We need to know something is going to work. Brother Tito, you have my Floridian Tears or Don Carlos. A Don Carlos, again, old school perfection. Now, as we talk about old school cigars, and so we want to talk about that lane where, listen, I'm a grown up. I got kids. I got stuff going on. I need a cigar that's going to work. My father just builds a reputation, but satisfying that desire. Other companies, we talk about the Perdomos. They stay in that lane. I'm going to give you a good cigar. You'll find the one that you like. And so a company like Perdomo, they'll make a bunch of different cigars. They'll come out with essentially the same line, like the 12-year. But they'll come out with one that's, I don't know, sun-grown. One that's Maduro. One that's, so they're going to come out with the different variations of it. And you know what you do when you're a grown man? You find the one you like. And so those who smoke Perdomos, maybe you just gonna rock you the Perdomo champagne. Maybe you want a lighted cigar. Those who smoke Perdomos, they know the Perdomo they like. They'll let you know, look, I smoked the Perdomo 12-year, double barrel age. They'll tell you exactly which one they like. They'll say, no, I smoked the Perdomo 20th anniversary, sun-grown one. And they know the exact vitola that they get it in. That's an old school way. We know what we like. And so I think Perdomo has kind of mastered that lane where they're all going to be high quality, but they're going to make them with the different, essentially the different wrappers. So whether it's a sun-grown, whether it's a Maduro, whether it's a San Andreas, but it's always going to be good quality. It's always going to be that exceptional quality. Is it going to knock your socks off? Look, that ain't what we trying to do. Ain't no 45-year-old man trying to, listen, he want to get the cigar that he like. And so Perdomo has mastered that. And I'm just top of my head. A lot of times, Rocky Patel, I think, has mastered that. It's like, look, find the one you like. I like the Rocky Patel Edge. If you're a working man, maybe you smoke, maybe you smoking every day. Some of y'all smoke 3 cigars a day. That's who the Rocky Patels is for. You that grown man, look, you found the cigar that you like. I like Don Carlos, as my friend said, but that's like a $15 cigar. If I'm smoking 3 cigars a day, I'm not smoking no Don Carlos. I'm not spending $45 on cigars every day. But if you're the kind of guy, look, you're a working man, you're the foreman at your job, you're an electrician with your own business, you're a plumber with your own business, you're going to smoke 3 cigars a day, you can get you some Rocky Patel. You'll find the one you like, whether it's the Connecticut, whether it's the Edge, whether it's the Decade, you'll find it. And then, yes, maybe you can smoke 3 of them a day because they're $8 cigars, maybe $10 cigars. You see, for us grown-ups, for us old school people, we learn how to find the ones we like. But it's got to be consistent. It's got to be right. All right, let me get caught up with the chat. Make sure you're hitting the like button as we start the show. We just having an old school cigar show. One of the things I do on my channel, and I'm very particular about this, you guys can see this, you can sense this. I'm not just trying to flood you with new stuff. because I know we don't operate like that. We operate with the tried and true. Like Chris says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right, let me answer a couple questions here. Johnny asks, how expensive are the Florida Antillas and the coffin boxes? So those are the 10th anniversary. Yeah, those cost a little bit. Okay. Those Florida Antillas, those are like $40 each. I got those. Those are for special occasions. Those are when you're just feeling good. So the Florida Antillas, the My Father Florida Antillas 10th anniversary, it's an exceptional cigar. It costs you like $40. It's a guaranteed enjoyment. It's way better. I'm gonna say this all night long because I think it might have been last night. No, it wasn't last night. It was on Friday. I smoked me the Atabey Black, $60 cigar. Hard to find. Waste of time. Waste of money. Waste of an hour. When you become old school, you can't be wasting no hour. When I lit up the cigar, I already knew from the start. I was like, yeah, this ain't it. It had like a dark cherry. It had some woodsy notes, some espresso notes, but I was like, nah, this ain't a good use of my time. This was Friday night, and I'm like, yeah, I done work way too hard to smoke a $60 cigar that's average. No. And so the My Father Florida Antillas, that's one where, listen, sometimes we want to celebrate because we rise and we grind and we doing amazing things in our lives. So yeah, you want to pull out that $40 cigar, but it's got to work every time. You can't be messing around with us. Singer said he took my advice, got him that Tabernacle broadleaf. That's a Tabernacle, yeah. Foundation Tabernacle. This is something I've been smoking for a long time. This is old school stuff. I've been trying to think, okay, can I get back to the Liga Privada? Can I get back to smoking those? That's old school. If that's your taste, then great. Go for it. But as my brother said here, the Tabernacle. That's you know who the Tabernacle's for? And a lot of foundation cigars. This is for more of the, I guess, the artistic old head. And that's what I see the Tabernacle. If you love history, if you love a story, because some of us, we like a good story. I love a good story. I'm a religious man, so when I smoke foundation, I want the story. I want to look at the band. You remember back in the days when you would eat cereal and you would read? Remember? All right, this is all right. I'm so old. Back in the days, cereal boxes used to have like a whole cartoon on the back of it, and you'd be sitting there eating the cereal, reading the box. That's what you did as a kid. You ate your cereal and you read the box. The box had stuff on it, like a comic or something. That's what Tabernacle, I think, does. You that man, you smoking you a cigar. Yeah, the cigar ain't the star of the show, but you want a good story. You want to read something, look at something, be interested in something. And so Tabernacle does a good job of that. Foundation does a good job of that, where there's going to be a story. So every cigar. So whether it's the Menelik, the wise man, the son of the wise man, the Tabernacle, the Olmec, the Axum, the Night Commander, even I just smoked recently their 10th anniversary. And it's got St. George on there. So you get intrigued. You're like, who's St. George? And so if you that old head, and you like a good story, you the artistic brother or sister, I think that's who Tabernacle appeals to. And so we just having us an old school cigar show. Sometimes I'll do a show and I'll talk about what's new but to me, there's really to be honest with you, there's no joy in that. There's really no joy in telling my friends, hey, some new stuff just came out, go buy it. Like, I don't think that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to talk to my friends and say, hey, look, You know, I've been smoking this cigar for like 10 years. It ain't never failed me. Go check it out. I can guarantee you that when I tell you about a cigar, you're going to come back. I can guarantee it 100%. There ain't no other cigar content creator that can make this guarantee. When I tell you a cigar is good, you're going to smoke it. You're going to come back and say, oh, man, that cigar was so amazing. Because I'm telling you stuff I've been smoking for like 10 years. I ain't had no misses. I've never lit up a Foundation Tabernacle and not have a great experience. That's another old school way. We don't talk unless we know. Sometimes I wonder, because sometimes these new cigars will come out and then right away there's a video on it. I'm like, already? The cigar just came out. How you know it tastes good? You just got it. An old school way is we don't talk about it until we know, because that's your word. You don't give a recommendation on something unless you know for sure. Listen, I don't talk about a cigar unless I done smoked like 3 of them at least. Sometimes I want to smoke through a whole box of them before I tell you it's good. I'm not going to smoke one cigar and be like, hey guys, it's amazing. Like, you only had one. The old school way is patience. We ain't got to rush into nothing. Back in the days, yeah, maybe when we was younger, we wanted to rush. And now we don't have to do that no more. Nowadays, we just chill. We take our time with everything. We relax. And when we know for sure, then we gonna talk about it. That's an old school way. That's what we do. Because the worst thing you want to have happen in your neighborhood is you become known as Mr. Hype. In my neighborhood, we used to call it Chicken Little. See, these are the stories that they probably don't even tell these stories no more. Chicken Little. Or the boy crying wolf. The worst reputation you could ever get is where your word isn't solid. The story of Chicken Little is really Chicken Little thought it was going to rain and he's telling everybody, oh, it's coming down. Listen, that was hype. The old school way is you don't talk about nothing until you know. You don't create hype. You don't create panic. You don't create fear. You don't talk about nothing until you know it for sure. An old school cigar right here. We're going to talk about warp. Listen, we just doing this top of the head. This is a gift. This is a talent. I'm going to sit here for 2 hours just off the top of the head. I ain't got no notes, script. But we just having what we call, back in the days, you called this a conversation. You see, everybody can't do this. Everybody can't just talk. Now, we talk about Aganorsa leaf. Supreme leaf. That's a great cigar. An amazing cigar. Now, all of a sudden, it's getting all this hype. There's a buzz about the Aganorsa leaf. Everybody going out and buying it. It's a great cigar. I concur. One of the things I shared with you is I said, listen, most of the tobacco you smoke comes from Aganorsa leaf. At one point in time, all the warp cigars came from Aganorsa. It was Aganorsa leaf. There was companies like Illusione. All their stuff was Aganorsa leaf. Warp used to put out some amazing cigars, and you're gonna see something real fast right now. Warp used to put out some great cigars, and so 5 years ago, everybody was talking about Warp. Warp was putting out some cigars like, yes, the Guardians of the Farm. Just the cigar tastes like grape. It tastes like grape Kool-Aid. That's what the cigar tastes like. If you never had grape Kool-Aid, then listen. I don't even know if they make those Kool-Aid packs anymore. I mean, some of us, we got diabetes now, so we can't be, we can't be. Shouts, let me know if you still drink Kool-Aid in 2026. I don't drink Kool-Aid no more. But that's what the Guardians of the Farm tastes like. It was just an amazing cigar. No matter what Vitola you got it in. A friend hit me up. He said, make sure you get it in the Longsdale. It was an amazing cigar. Wonderful cigar. And the sad thing is, I got to say it was. I mean, it still is. I encourage my friends to go out, buy them. They're still sitting on shelves. What's up, everybody? Jumping in on this Easter Resurrection Sunday. We just talking about some old school stuff. Let me get caught up. We talking about some Foundation, Tabernacle, Axum, Olmec, all good stuff. I'm drinking me some 120 proof. That's why I drink water and I sip on the whiskey. And so when you get a little bit older, I mean, you learn how to drink. You learn how to care for yourself. That's just an old school thing. You learn how to manage. You learn how am I going to smoke a cigar, drink some whiskey, talk for 2 hours. Listen, that's just something you learn around the way. So back in the days, Warp was the talk of the town. Why? Because they got their tobacco from Aganorsa. And so they put out some great cigars. A legendary one, I talk about it all the time, the Chinchale. So Warp was just putting out just amazing, just winners, bangers. Here's was their simple formula. And listen, this is gonna be an old school lesson. We helping the people. That's all we do. We don't ask you for nothing. Every now and again, I might say, hit the like button. Most shows I'm sending off stuff, but I'm like, I ain't gotta send people products no more. We just gonna give the people the jewels. That's all we doing in 2026. I've been doing this long enough. I know it ain't even secrets. I like to think about it as more so just principles. And that's what I'm bringing to the people. I'm taking what happens in the cigar space, and I'm just sharing it with y'all. Some of it is history. A lot of it just makes sense. And again, I know that there's just life lessons involved with this. As I'm finishing up this Alec Bradley Prensado, drinking me some Knob Creek 25th anniversary. I said, what's the oldest thing I got? Here's an old school just lesson right here. So here's what happened back in the days, maybe 5 years ago. So Warp, they had a tried and true method. You're a company, you need tobacco. Go to Aganorsa. Aganorsa got the good tobacco. Simple lesson, go to the source. If you're a cigar company, if you want to make whatever product, go to the source. If you want to make tobacco, listen, there's one or two places, one or three places. You go to Aganorsa, they're going to give you tobacco. Go to Placencia, they're going to give you good tobacco. You can go to AJ, he's going to give you good tobacco. Stick to what works. Simple. That's what Warp used to do. And listen, I'm not trying to hurt nobody. I'm not here to bother no one. That's what Warp used to do. Big man, he's talking about the aging room. Aging room. I believe it's Rafael Nader or Nadal had aging room. He went to AJ. AJ, I want to make cigars. AJ said, here's the tobacco. Make them. It's really simple. I'm just trying to get caught up in the chat. In fact, let me get caught up in the chat before I make this point. It's going to be a good point. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you're hitting like. We talked earlier about supporting the Patreon. We back on the Patreon. I know people was like, man, I'm not seeing no Patreon uploads. So I said, you know what? Okay, watch this. I'm going to upload like 3 videos. Just because. Just because folks are like, what's up with your Patreon? And I'll probably give away a travel humidor. I'll do it in the month of April. Just to show, look, when we set something up, we do it. My word is my bond. On this channel. So this channel, so you got the regular YouTube, and then you got like YouTube membership. And so there's some content that I'm just going to put there just to reward those people who say, look, I want to support the channel extra. And so with this channel, we bring content. We got content. So we got the regular videos you get. You got Patreon videos. And then we're going to have the YouTube member videos. We'll jump on here, give you a live, just game. All we ask, just support the channel. Hit the like button, hit share, hit hype. I'll never lie to you. I will never lead you astray. I'm not going to cry chicken. I'm not going to cry wolf. The Ed Habano, brother said, is a must daily smoke for the risers and grinders. An amazing cigar. So if you're the kind of guy you smoking multiple cigars a day, get you that Ed Habano. All right. I'm not sweating because, I'm sweating because it's hot. Okay. It's hot. I'm energetic. Listen, all right, it is 78 degrees where I am right now. So it ain't the Knob Creek. The Knob Creek is still in the glass. I'm drinking water. I'm hype. I'm energetic. Listen, I've been up since 5 this morning. Got to the church. We made breakfast for the people. Preached a little bit. Did our little thing. And now we here. All right. We talking about just regular cigars. We just helping the people. Everybody is getting the Supreme leaf. I'm so far behind in the chat. Remember that when there was a prize in the cereal box? And so some of us, we got old school ways. We got old school ways. Yeah, Tabernacle tells an amazing story. So if you smoke a cigar and you're like, look, I want to have a story. Why? Because nostalgia sets in and you're thinking, I remember as a kid, I used to eat cereal and read something. And so if you want to smoke a cigar and you want to read something, learn something, Foundation is the way. I love the Alec Bradley Kintsugi. That's an amazing cigar. Is it better than the Prensado? Nah. I like the Prensado more. The Kintsugi is more affordable. All right. We having conversations. Kintsugi, good stuff. All right. We got so much. Make sure you're hitting like. I'm one guy trying to manage the whole chat. I was talking to my wife, like I said, in the car on the way from church. All right. I'm going to light up the second one. I normally don't smoke 2 cigars, only on my live. I want to make sure that's clear. I smoke about 5 cigars a week. 2 of them I do right in front of you. So health is wealth. I'm going to light up this old school Oliva Series V Milanio in a Robusto size. This is old school. Just old school goodness. So make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you guys hitting hype. We're about to drop some jewels on you. Let me get this cigar going. Like I said, I was telling my wife. She says, how come you don't have like a whole panel and all, I was like, look, baby, what I do, I just do. I'm going to turn the camera on and we just going to go. What am I going to talk about? I don't know. The people is my co-host. The people is going to be the panel. The people are the guests. I'm going to start it off with a good conversation. We just talking about the old school ways. We're talking about how things used to be. Talking about how back in the days when you used to eat your cereal and read the box. We talking about, listen, we getting back to the old school. One of the things as I do this show, so I just smoked me the Alec Bradley Prensado. Just when I sit in front of you, I need a cigar that's going to work, that's going to be perfect. I might have to relight it because I'm talking so much. But when you get old school, you ain't got no time for cigars. You ain't got no time for no hit and miss. If you notice, I've done all these lives. I've never had a cigar that plugged or was bad. Listen, because I'm only smoking the right stuff. That's old school. I'm only smoking the stuff that's gonna work. All right, so let me drop this jewel before I lose the thought. And so Warp, 5 years ago, if you guys were smoking cigars back then, Warp was putting out winners. They stick to a formula. They went to the source. They went to Aganorsa leaf. They went to Aganorsa, got that good Nicaraguan tobacco that's well-aged, that's just tasty, that has a certain flair to it. Everybody was talking about Warp. That's what everybody talked about back in the days. But then, here's what happens with the new guys, the young guys. Warp said, oh, let's get a little fancy. Let's go get some new tobacco. Let's try some new stuff. Let's get some other stuff. Let's get some Dominican Republic tobacco. Sometimes we play ourselves. And so Warp was getting all the Aganorsa tobacco. They was putting out cigars like Guardians of the Farm, Chinchale. They was winning. They were on a trajectory to be the best. They was winning. But then they got cute. And now they done flat out fall off. Ain't nobody checking for Warp no more. They put out duds. I mean, okay, they put out the Cocodrillo. Listen, that thing, I don't like that cigar. It's not good. And now they're gonna try the Cocodrillo Blanco, and they're pulling at straws at this point. These companies, when they got away from a tried and true method, get you the good tobacco, put out the good cigars. That's old school. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Leave it alone. Do with what works. They mess with the source. They said, we don't need that Aganorsa leaf anymore. We're going to do something different. And now they done fell off. And so many people have done that. You look at Crown Heads. Crown Heads was doing the same thing. They was winning. Crown Heads was putting out just Le Carême and just amazing cigars. They had the Juarez series. They was just doing great 5 years ago. Stick to the source. Don't get cute. Crown Heads got cute. Let me ask you this. When's the last time you had a good Crown Head cigar? I ain't had none in forever. The old school way is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's old school. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. My brother says talking about music. Remember when music was awesome? You know how music was awesome? Because you stick to what work. The Temptations, they're going to put out the same rhythm, the same style over and over. Jay-Z, same thing. DMX, same thing. Biggie, Tupac, the same. Even Eminem, 50 Cent, if you follow their flow, their style, the pattern, the old school method is, listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Leave it alone. The problem a lot of these new cigar companies make is they'll start off good. And this is why I can't get behind all of them, because I already know they're going to put out some good cigars at first. And then they're going to fall off. They're going to get cute. Why? Because I hate to say this, I don't want to sound like I'm bashing a generation, but that's the millennial way. The millennial way is constant change. The millennial way is progression and movement. The millennial way is, if I got a job, I need to look for a better job. And they're always trying to get, it's about constant movement. The old school way is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why you think companies like Padron, and I talk bad about Padron for this reason, but listen, they stick to it. Padron's like, look, we got one blend. That's all we got. We giving you the same blend over and over and over. Arturo Fuente, same thing. We know it works. We giving you the same thing over and over. Opus X, Opus X, Opus X. The old school way of doing stuff is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Brother says, how much does it cost to be a member? So listen, just check out my Patreon. I think it's like $5. It might be $3 for one of the memberships, just to get you in. If you want to greatly support and get all kind of perks, it might cost you $7 a month. Listen, the content you're going to get is worth it. I'm an old school guy. I'm going to make sure the value that you get is going to be way more than the value you put in. But we're just talking about old school ways. Brother remember digging into the cereal bag? Remember ruining a whole bag of cereal so you can get that little $2 prize? My friend, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, Big Manny. May God bless you. May God shine his light upon you. Thanks for supporting the channel. Your support means the world to me. Thank you. From one man to another, I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. That's an old school man. Thank you, my friend. All right. And so Easter, we celebrated. We preached. We served. We just having us an old school show. My frat brother said he found some boxes of Oliva V and Milano. So I'm smoking this Milano right now. And that's another company. When you look at Oliva, just old school. Oliva says, look, we got this Nicaraguan tobacco. We make it good. And we ain't got to change it. Let me ask you this. Simple question. What's that new Oliva that just came out? I'll wait. What's the new Oliva? You ain't got to come up with nothing new. If you doing what's working, you don't have to change nothing. The companies that always got to have some kind of new hype, new stuff. That's the companies that they gotta keep tweaking stuff. They gotta keep reaching, finding, trying. When you onto something good, you don't have to change nothing. Listen, I'm doing a live and I'm smoking. I just smoked you. I just smoked an old cigar, Alec Bradley Prensado, and now I'm smoking me an Oliva. And notice how the band is just moving. Well aged. If it ain't broke, you ain't gotta fix it. That's that old school mentality. And so I talk about Aganorsa. I've been on the Aganorsa train. The Supreme Leaf. You guys are buying them all up. and here's what I just love. I love that right now in the cigar space, I don't even know who's the newest or who's the latest, the greatest. There's always going to be some new company. There's always going to be some new company that comes out. And yes, most of the content's going to be on, most content creators are going to do content on new stuff. Buy the new stuff. But in the midst of this, you got these old school companies, Aganorsa. Their cigar, and I said this in the video, if you want to know the true greatness of cigar taste, This cigar everyone's buying up, and I've been talking about their newest one, and it's just a retweak of the blend. So they're gonna come out. It's 2026, so they've come out with their 2026 version. And I think when they made it, they said, let's make it taste like it used to. Let's make it taste like 10 years ago. And that's what really just got me hooked. I smoked that cigar, and I said in the video, I said, ooh. Remember in Back to the Future when they got in the McLaren, they went back to the past? And remember back in the days when you would go to McDonald's and the ice cream machine worked? Remember back in the days when you would get a milkshake and it was made with ice cream? Remember how Dr. Pepper used to taste back in the days? Remember how Coke used to taste because it was made with real sugar? Remember how McDonald's used to taste because it used to be real meat? And so sometimes you could be smoking something or drinking something and you're like, oh, this tastes like yesterday. This tastes like... That's literally what I thought when I was making that video and when I smoked the cigar. I said, ooh, this Aganorsa Leaf, Supreme Leaf, this 109 cap, this 2026 edition, this tastes like 2020. I sat there and I said it. I said, ooh, this tastes like, and I did the video. You can check out the video. In fact, let me see. What did I entitle the video? I mean, you guys, I'm sure you've watched it, but in case someone's listening and they're like, what's he talking about? I called it my new favorite cigar. Because sometimes we go on this cigar journey and we're just, it's just new stuff. And then you smoke something and you're like, oh. Now, for a lot of you, if you're new smokers, it's a new taste to you. But that's what they used to taste like. They used to taste real. I live out in Southern California, and there's all these. We got In-N-Out. Let me know if you guys have had In-N-Out. In-N-Out is a burger spot, and their specialty, the fries, they cut it from potato. I'm like, wait a minute. Where else are you getting your fries from? It's all from potato. It all should be freshly cut potato. The meat is never frozen. It's fresh. It should be fresh meat. Sometimes you'll stumble onto something that the new guys think that they've come on to a new thing, a new concept. And you're like, wait a minute. This is how burgers used to always be. It used to always be fresh meat. The fries was always freshly cut. Sometimes even in cigars, what they do is they go back to the old way. They go back to the way they used to do it. And that's the thing that I just love about where I am in life. I'm 46 years old. And so, again, I didn't know I was old school. I didn't know when I smoked the Aganorsa Leaf 10 years ago. I didn't know that was a special taste. I just thought it was the taste. But sometimes when you go 10 years without it and you're just getting this new crap, and then when you stumble onto that old stuff, and I think that's what happened with that leaf. They somehow went back to the drawing board. I said to you guys, unless things change, you'll probably never get to smoke you a Monte Cristo number 2, a true Cuban cigar. That's what the Aganorsa Leaf has always tasted like a real deal Cuban. And so again, I'm in my old man moment. I feel like I done went into a time machine. And that's why I'm in this space right now where I am, where I said, well, okay, maybe they bring in the old stuff back. And so the Aganorsa Leaf, wonderful. What I now find myself doing, I went to the lounge yesterday, God honest truth. And I went to the warp section. I didn't look for the new stuff. I was combing through trying to find those guardians of the farm. That's what I did yesterday. I bought me a handful of them. Two things. One, they were made with the Aganorsa leaf. Two, they've been sitting there for years. That's the beauty with cigars. Some of y'all trying to get the new stuff. The new stuff just got here. If you go in your cigar lounge and you find you a Warp Guardians of the Farm, that thing probably been sitting there for 5 years. Them boys is ready. And so those are some of the cigars where I just gotta say, hey, this stuff is good. It's old school. So let me know. I've been talking a lot. I done probably spoke more today than I've spoken all of the last week. Let me know. Let me know about some of that old school stuff. I got one of you guys, a great subscriber. He said he's going to send me some Christoph cigars. Says one of his favorites. And I'm like, I remember that name. Let me know. Let me know your suggestions. Most people know Crown Heads, the Juarez. Listen, the chat will always speak. Jonathan says the Juarez is beautiful. That's when Crown Heads stuck to the old school formula. Get you some good tobacco. Just keep it simple. They stopped doing that. And now, yeah, they done fell off. And it's so crazy for me. I'm sitting here, when I watch a company start, you remember grand opening, grand closing? Sometimes you'll be in a game so long, you can watch an entire company start up and watch them fall apart. And I just find it so fascinating is that they fell apart because they got cute. Stick to the old school ways of doing it. Crown Heads, the Mil Diaz. The Juarez, the Mil Diaz, the La Carême, they was winning. Cigars, sports, football, we all know, listen, there's one way to win. Run the ball, play defense. Now, every now and again, there's going to be some new thing. Like, let's do some new stuff. Let's throw the ball a lot. Let's run the ball, play good defense. That's the old school method. We're watching basketball right now. And remember, they had the whole shoot 3-pointers and run. You don't win no games like that. Oklahoma City, solid defense. You see, we keep trying to get away from what's right. That's that new mentality. That's that, we got it figured out. That's the millennial stuff. We gonna change the game. I'm Generation X. What we learned is, look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Leave it alone. Stop trying to tweak stuff. Stop trying to change stuff. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Which is why I'm smoking me a Melania right now. Way better than any new stuff. Old school music. Parliament, Funkadelic, Bootsy Collins. Brother, right now, Mark is having him Alec Bradley, Black Label, and some Elijah Craig on the wind down on a Sunday night. We just having us an old school show. That's all we doing. We just having conversations. I know some of you are watching this and thinking like, oh, I kind of like this show. I like this. It's a good vibe to it. Yeah, it's a good. Listen, let me blow your mind. This is how shows used to be. I mean, this is how back in the days you used to have what's called personalities, and they would just talk. Now I know this by saying crazy. Back in the days, you had guys like Howard Stern. Back in the days, you had people who, this is what they did. They sat down and they talk. And they were like lively personalities. You had Dave Letterman's and Johnny Carson. And back in the days, you had men who would just talk. And that's what our entertainment was. And it was cool. It was good. It was all right. And now it's a whole different thing. And this is why I lean into it. I'm like, all right, well, look, what I'm doing, there's people who ain't never seen this done before. So they're like, wait a minute, this show is amazing. This guy talks and shares and has conversation. And I'm like, yeah, that's how it all used to be. This is like me becoming a football coach and telling my team, hey guys, we're going to play defense and run the ball. I think that's going to work. And the players are like, you think it'll work? And I'm like, yeah, I think it'll work. I've seen it done before. The Bible says there is nothing new under the sun. You see, we keep trying to fix stuff and tweak stuff. And I'm watching these shows and I'm like, man, if we can just get back to the old school way. I appreciate you, DJ. Boom. I appreciate you, my friend. Much love to you. I pray that God returns this gift back to you 100-fold. Thank you. Thank you to all that's watching right now. Thank you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys just kicking it with me on a Sunday night. We used to do our show on Fridays. We'll get back to that come the fall. I figured during summertime, look, I'm free on Sunday nights. I work really hard Sunday mornings, but come Sunday night, I'm chilling. I'm relaxing. So why not just do a quick show, hang with the people, just talk about some old school stuff. As I enjoy me this Series V Milano, drinking me some Knob Creek. An old school drink, an old school cigar. Just having some good conversation with the people. So again, if we're bringing you some kind of entertainment, we know you got to get ready for work tomorrow. I can't go to my boss and be like, hey boss, listen, this was Easter. I preached twice. I'm tired. My boss come be like, look, it's Monday. Get back to work. That's life. And so I figure, all right, we need a moment to unwind. And it's so good to, and here's the beauty about cigars, and this whole conversation is about old school stuff. The beauty with cigars is it gets better with time. And so all the cigars where they're like, oh, it's old. All right, those are the best ones. I mean, when it comes to wine, we understand that the oldest wine is going to be the best wine. Even I've been noticing a thing. Even they're starting to say it with fragrances. If you get a bottle of cologne and you let that thing sit, they said is I can't remember what's the exact term, but it's a term that says that the fragrance itself starts to get better with time. You see, we're living in a day and time where we like to despise the old stuff. We like to have the new stuff. But if you smoke cigars, you drink whiskey, your whiskey's got to have some age on it. Your wine's got to have some age on it. And that's why I just don't understand the fascination with the new stuff. The new stuff just means it ain't ready. And that's why it's so hit and miss. Anyone who you barbecue, you marinate, you need to let that thing sit for a while. You can't rush certain things. You can't rush cigars. I'm drinking a whiskey. Okay, so this is Knob Creek 25th anniversary. Whiskey gotta sit for like 9 to 12 years. Scotch has gotta sit for like 12 to 18 years. We can't be rushing this stuff. Brother Jonathan asks, he wants to try the Avowed. Now, okay, that's a good cigar. So Avowed, they're the new brand, and then we can get into that. I'll do a quick segue. And maybe this might answer a question someone has. They might say, well, wait a minute. We can't always just, are you saying we should only smoke Milanios and Prensados and Aganosa Supreme Leaf? What I'm saying is understand what you're getting into. Now, Avowed is an old school, throwing an old school name. So there's a name known as Kellner. And so it's a family. They got, I think it's class, and then there's like Hanky, and there's all these names. The Kellner family. They were big with Davidoff. They were big with Davidoff in Cuba. And so now this old school name. And so when you think about Padron was big in Cuba. Then they came to Miami, Nicaragua. The old school name, the legacy. You see, that you can't get away from. That you can't. The thing about tobacco, you got to have years in this because you got to have the soil. You got to have the tobacco, the aged tobacco. You got to have the process that's been worked out. You can't rush this thing. Listen. Okay, listen. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Hit the like button because we give all we did tonight is showed up and gave you amazing information. I didn't say nothing controversial, nothing offensive. All we did tonight. Russ says, remember when we had two genders? Jeez, I remember that. What a thing to remember. Let me get caught up with the chat. Yeah, I think the chat is my co-host. Let me pay attention to my co-host real fast. Remember when you had the chicken pot pie? And they were 3 for $1. All right, good stuff. I think this is what we're talking about. Remember when ice cream was really ice cream? I mean, jeez. Brother Mark is here. What's happening? Brother Mark's been smoking for 20 plus years. And so there's something to what I'm saying to where we got to recognize the experience. In fact, and I'm not, it sounds like I'm throwing shade, but and I'm only saying based on what I've heard, most cigar content creators just started smoking cigars. That might blow your mind. From what I've heard, and that's what these guys say when they launch their channel. I'm new to smoking cigars, and I got a channel. And I'm like, wait a minute. How you got a channel and you just started? It's almost like saying, I'm a new cigar company. Buy my... Okay, cigars take like 10 years to get ready. How you new and you got a cigar company? It's just like whiskey. Whiskey take like 12 years. How you gonna be new and you got 12-year whiskey? How you gonna be a new? How you just start smoking cigars and you doing cigar reviews? Again, with my Generation X mind, I'm like, I don't. It doesn't compute. You got to know what you're talking about. And so yes, like I said, I've been doing a lot of preaching this weekend. You know, if you follow, church stuff, there's the thing called the 7 last words, and you're gonna have 7 preachers up there, and you can always tell. I've been doing this for a little while, but I got enough experience and wisdom to understand where I am in the game. And sometimes you'll see the new preacher who get up there and they think they about to do something, and you just watch them, you support them, you encourage them because they don't know any better. And you watch them. But then you watch that old head. You know what I'm talking about. That preacher. And us real preachers, we already know, like, look, I've been doing this for about 10 years. I've been preaching for about 10 years. But when somebody get up there and you just know it. You can look at him and say, oh, he about to preach. When he get up there, he got 20, 30 years in this thing. You already know from the way he walked to the mic. You can see the confidence. You already know, oh, it's about to be, it's about, and a guy like me, a student of the game, I sit back and I say, oh, I'm about to learn something. I watch and I'm prepared. And so I preached an event this past weekend, and the person, let's just say there were some younger preachers than myself there. And I watched them, and I encouraged them, and they did their thing. But when I went, and I remember one of the preachers came up to me afterwards, and they were like, "Oh my God, how'd you do that? That was so good." And I just looked at them, I said, "Yeah, in time, you start learning. You learn how to read a room, you learn how to work on your craft, you develop some experience, but you gotta slow down a little bit. You can't be too full of yourself. You got to understand what's going on. You got to understand the moment. You got to respect, I hate to say this, but you got to respect the game. And it's this way in so much of life. And I think that's the big problem we got now, where folks don't want to respect the game. They just want to be out there. They just want to, you got to learn how to sit back and watch and see. All right, what does that have to do with cigars? Okay, so listen. So someone asked a question earlier about avowed. You know where avowed, going all the way back to a point I made about an hour ago. Avowed gets their tobacco. You know who's making their blends? Kellner. Klaus Kellner. See, my friends, there's rules to this. The old school way, if you want to be a success, either you find the people who know what they're doing, find the people who know what they're talking about, find the people who've been doing this for a little while, go find you that Aganorsa, find you that Placencia, or find you that Kellner, find you that name, find you somebody who know what they're doing. And so if you're saying, wait a minute, Rise and Grind, Avowed is new, but they're good and you support them. Who you think making their cigars? The same people who was making Davidoff cigars back in Cuba. We talking 1990s. So again, like the Bible says, there ain't nothing new under the sun. There is no, there ain't no new stuff that's come out and no new brand and new. In order to be good at anything, you got to put some time into it. And so, yeah, I'm a big fan of Avowed because they got some old school legacy behind them. They got the Kellner name behind them. And there's other companies like Stoic. You'll start hearing me talk about them. They got the Kellner name. What they did, they said, hey, look, we knew, but we need to get somebody who know what they doing and get some help. The worst thing you could do is when you're a new guy and you trying to act like you know what you're talking about, and you're just going to fall on your face. That's what happened with Crown Heads. That's what happened with Warp. That's what happened with a lot of these companies. They start off. Notice you don't hear nothing about them anymore. There's a way to go about this thing. Now, my brother, okay, we just having a conversation at this point. I don't even know if I talked about what I came to talk about, but we 2 hours in. Brother says that the NBA is going to have a 4-point shot. All right, I don't know about that. We'll have to see that one. Room 101. Matt Booth. Old school name. One of the things that you also got to learn in the cigar space is sometimes the companies change, but the name remains the same. So Matt Booth, you can Google it. Been putting out great cigars, different companies. So he's got a company called Room 101. If you want to get you a great cigar, get you the Room 101, the Big Payback Maduro. Fantastic cigar. I believe that's Connecticut broadleaf, affordable. Listen, go ahead and flood them, buy them all up. The Rise and Grind seal of approval. The Room 101 Big Payback Maduro. I mean, that's a cigar. I think I bought a 50 count of that cigar. So good. I mean, it's worth it. Affordable, delicious. All right. We getting it going. Bro says he missed when the Lakers was good. I think they still good now. All right. My frat talk about some Boone's Farm. I mean, I don't know if I could join you on that journey. But hey, that's old school. It's definitely old school. That's like old English. Yeah. Brother Singer became a new YouTube member. Listen, there's a whole bunch of content. I got to the point I realized, look, I'm putting out a lot of content. I mix content. I mean, that's what I do. If you realize at this point, I can sit here for 2 hours, talk to you. I said, how about I just make a ton of content? I can preach, I can talk, I can conversate. And so I said, but I gotta. And so if you become a YouTube member, there's gonna be some content that you'll only have access to. Because the game is to be told and not sold, but I gotta control it somehow. I can't make 1,000 videos and just put it out on YouTube. And so I do put some stuff on YouTube, some for my YouTube members, some for Patreon. The Patreon, I like my Patreon. I really do. Sometimes people set up a Patreon just to get money, as a money grab. My Patreon is where I can really just talk because it's not YouTube controlled. So check out the Patreon. That's where I can just be unfiltered and put out content that, and sometimes I'll make the same video, but then I'll say, you know what? This one's for Patreon. This one's for regular YouTube. This one's for YouTube members. And so whichever one you choose, it's going to be great content. But if you want to get that hardcore, that unfiltered stuff, I guess Patreon is the way. YouTube members will get you some of that stuff where it's the stuff I'm interested in, like the whiskey stuff, the stuff where I want to be more specific. And so, hey, look, we make content. That's what I do. That's what God has gifted me to do, to sit and talk. I mean, we're going on 2 hours. I'm here to bring you content and entertainment and encouragement. So if we're doing that, hit the like button. We've had a fun show. Avowed is doing their thing. Yeah, AVO and Avowed is two different things. Way completely different. Avowed is a new company. I'm digging them. Let's see. Patreon, check that out. Again, we throwing up content. If you miss church, I mean, hey. All right. So let me just catch my breath. All right. My brother Young. Yeah, man. Happy Easter to you. Today's a big day. And that's why I knew I could do a show, because I knew my adrenaline was going to be flowing. Listen, God on his truth. I'll tell y'all the truth. So every day I drink coffee. First thing in the morning, I drink coffee. Particularly as I'm going to church, I need some caffeine, because to do what I do, I woke up this morning and so at my church, the man prepared breakfast for the church. And so normally, as I'm getting ready for church on Sunday mornings, my wife, she'll make coffee, she'll make breakfast. But I said, oh, you don't have to make breakfast because, we're going to have breakfast at the church. That's why we're going early, 2 hours early. So I get in the car and I'm like, where's my coffee? And she said, oh, I didn't make coffee. And I'm like, you didn't make coffee? And at this point, I'm late. And so I had to drive to church. No coffee, no caffeine, no nothing. That might seem like a simple thing to you, but I drink coffee every day. And so now I'm going to church on Resurrection Sunday with no coffee, no caffeine. And I'm getting to church 2 hours early. Now in my office, I had a Red Bull. So I cracked that Red Bull open. I said, look, I don't normally drink these things. I'm not big into the energy drinks, but I said, Lord, I need the Holy Spirit, but I'm going to need this Red Bull. So I opened up that Red Bull. It was like a 12 liter. I drank that thing and preached pretty good. And now I'm here. So if you're like, man, how does he get this energy? Like, dude been up since 5 this morning, and now he's doing a live. Yeah. We do this for the people. And thanks to Red Bull. Red Bull helped me out today. Red Bull helped. Budget sticks. You know what? I've done tons of videos on budget sticks. It's in the catalog. What I realize is that if I keep doing the same videos over and over and over, YouTube doesn't really like that, and y'all don't watch it. So check the catalog. Just search it. I've done so many videos on best budget cigars. There's a ton of them, and again, I realize that when I do more, it doesn't. Y'all don't watch it because I done did like 5 of them already. So check the catalog. When do I fit in my workouts? Every day. So I work out. Yeah, I work out like 6 times a week, probably 5. I gotta work out. I can't live without exercise. Yeah, I can't rise and grind. My body is a temple. So even though I'm smoking cigars and doing all this stuff, I take care of my body. As a man, I've got a lot of mentors, older men in my life. And that's one thing I've learned. Take care of your health. So I'm 46. You can't do what I do and not be in good health. I mean, I work my regular job about 10 hours a day. Church, probably spend 2 to 4 hours a day doing that. You got to be in great health. That's why I drink a lot of water. Vitamins, stretching. You got to be good. Yeah, man, I had no coffee. So today, it's like the first day probably in months. I didn't have any caffeine, which is weird. But I got me a Red Bull. All right, okay. As we finish up, I want to say a couple more things, and then I'm done. Old school stuff. So we talk about the My Father's, Aganorsa. There's another brand, and I just find I'm also intrigued by this. We talked about the Guardians of the Farm. Warp did that with Aganorsa Leaf. There's another brand that I'm really curious. It's really like irking me. Is a brand called Illusione. They take the Aganorsa Leaf, but I don't hear nobody talking about them. So let me know if you've even heard about Illusione. It's spelled like Illusione. Let me know if you've heard about Illusione. That was old school. Listen, it's so bad. Old school just means 5 years ago. Illusione put out some great cigars. They used the Aganorsa Leaf. I don't know what happened to them. I mean, they were all the rave. Again, here's the beauty. If you go into your cigar lounge, you see them, they've probably been sitting there for 5 years. Buy those. And so I get no satisfaction in telling you, buy a new cigar. I mean, Okay, sure. Yeah, whatever. That's like saying buy a Mercedes Benz. Yeah, okay, it's gonna be good. I like to help my friends by telling my friends. You ever know? You ever have a friend tell you about like some off the wall spot that's good, like that hole in the wall spot where the food is good? What's the point of telling you, yeah, go to Benihana's, go to Ruth Chris, they've got good steak? No, that's obvious. I like to tell my friends about the good stuff that they never heard about. And so Illusione, those are good stuff. Brother asked, did I serve coffee at? No. So listen, I'm so particular. I'm so particular about my coffee. Listen, I can't do the church coffee. I can't do the office coffee. I did a whole video where I talk about my coffee. Fresh beans. My beans got to be a week old. Freshly grounded. I grind my beans every morning. I can't play around when it comes to my coffee. My coffee has to be perfect. So I can't do the regular Folgers, and then I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't do that. So I already knew, and my wife, like the whole ride to church, she was like, I mean, she felt probably a little guilty because she knows that's the only thing I ask of her on a Sunday morning. I need a good cup of coffee. And it's got to be my coffee. I can't do the community coffee. Yeah, it's got to be fresh coffee. And so that means when I got, yes, they had coffee there, but listen, I got to preach. I can't drink that. That stuff's going to get to my stomach. So I drink fresh coffee, freshly made. Beans grinded right before, weighed out, measured, clean water. Yeah, you seen my coffee video. Check that video out about how I make my coffee every morning. Yeah. All right. My brother Tito says, look, when you become a member, your comments, I'm going to see them a little bit better. Listen, I'm seeing a ton of comments. You guys see all the comments flowing. But when you're a member, I see it better. So, like, yeah, I see that. So Singer, his thing shows up in a bright green color. So support the channel. If you support what we're doing, all we doing is bringing you good content, good quality, good conversation on a Sunday night. I thought about, should I do 2 shows a week? And I said, nah, that's too much. Let's scale it back. But we here for the people. Favorite definition cigar? The Definition Noir. I like the Anelio. I love the Definition Noir. To me, that's just box worthy. Get a box of those. It's just fantastic. I like to say that cigar is, what's the term? Unapologetically good. I don't know why I always say that. Sometimes you smoke a cigar and you're like, why is this cigar so good? This cigar should not be this good. Definition is a newer company. The Definition Noir. It's African Cameroon. And that thing is unapologetically good. It's just, it's better than it should be. I mean, it's so good. The brothers of Definition, they somehow stumble onto that cigar, and I salute them. All right, Matthew is here. Happy Easter. Happy Resurrection Day. My brother. All right, Illusione. Listen, Illusione puts out amazing cigars. I don't know if it was a marketing thing. I don't know what happened with them. But his cigars are still good. Good stuff. Good stuff, my friend. Paul Gomarian. If we're going to talk about old school, I would say this. Instead of chasing after, Atabays are good. If you want that real ultra luxury, go get you some Paul Gomarian. If you want some real good advice, I've never led you astray. Paul Gomarian is where it's at. That's the true smoker's luxury cigar. Paul Gomarian. There's always going to be the Atabays, Opus X, those kind of things. But Paul Gomarian is where it's at. That has my stamp of approval. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Luciane, but here's the thing. The cigars are still good. Still Aganoso leaf. I don't think the Luciane fell off. I just think nobody talks about them, and I don't know why. They're still good. Coffee, I get Pete's coffee. I go with the Big Bang. That's what I like to get. I get my fresh beans from Pete Coffee once a week. Oh yeah. Well, I drink. It ain't new coffee. It's fresh. It's fresh coffee. That's what I'm saying. I drink fresh coffee. What that means, my beans have to be roasted within a week of me drinking it. So yeah, I don't play with coffee. Listen, I don't mess around when it comes to my coffee. My coffee's got to be right. I can't do that old coffee. I can't do that bubble guts because I was in the Marine Corps and we just drank coffee just to stay up. Now, at 46 years old, my coffee's got to be perfect. I don't even buy coffee. I make my coffee every single morning. All right. Nah, singer. Yeah, because you're a member. You show different. Okay. We just want to jump on here. Old school stuff. We talk about whatever y'all wanted to talk about. I mentioned Aganoso leaf. We just kind of stayed in that lane for some reason. I'll put out the content. In fact, I smoked in a Luciane last night. I thought about doing a video on the Privé, and I'll be honest with you. I could have shot the video. I smoked the cigar, and I said, hey, I think it's good enough for me to shoot a video and recommend this to my friends. But it wasn't perfect. I want you to know this. I'm not going to recommend something unless it's perfect. So I said, okay, this will be a great video, giving you some hidden gem. But I said, nah, it's good, but it's not perfect. And so but the company, Luciane, they've got some different blends, and I rock with them, but check them out as you see fit. All right. Last company I'll just throw out, and I'm done. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Resurrection Sunday. You can only imagine the work I've done this weekend. Last company, Old School, Tatuaje, and I said this earlier. I was telling y'all about Tatuaje Black. I'll leave on this note. I told y'all about Tatuaje Black. Figuring, okay, it's a great cigar. I said it tastes like black licorice. Did a couple of videos on it, said it a couple of times. Cigar Aficionado listed it in their top 10, top 5 maybe. I went on a website today. I said, let me go get me some Tatuaje Blacks. And they were sold out. They ain't been sold out in years. I did some video on it. Cigar Aficionado did some content on it. They listed it. And now it's sold out. And so I said, okay. All right. And that, as discouraging as it was, because I wasn't able to buy the cigar I wanted to buy, but I said, okay. I think some of you guys probably went off and bought Tatuaje Blacks. And now I can't even get them. And so, like I say so often, I guess that's the price of friendship. I recommend to you guys cigars. You guys buy the cigars. And now I can't even get the cigars. My brother Johnny says, I should get 1%. And I'm learning that. So many of you guys said, oh, I saw your video and I went and bought a box just off of your video. And I'm like, okay, very good. I'm glad to have helped. Now I can't even get the cigars. And so, but I'm here to help the people. I'm here to help. I'm not going to gatekeep, but I'm happy to know that I'm helping you all out. It might be hurting me because now I can't even get the cigars that I want. I used to always be able to get Tatuaje Blacks. I always keep a box of them on hand. And I was like, wait a minute, sold out? Since when? Why are they sold out? And so I'm learning how this content creation works. My friends, y'all watch. Y'all go out and buy it. And then sometimes I can't even buy it no more. But it's all good because I've given you a good recommendation. You've bought it. And I pray whoever bought the last box of Tatuaje Blacks, I pray that you enjoy it. I still got a couple left, but geez, I'm running low. But the point of today's show is to say, hey man, you don't have to keep chasing after that new stuff. You don't have to keep chasing after the hype. There's a lot of old school stuff out here that's good. I'm just here to recommend some things to you. Been smoking cigars, I guess, 15 years now. I'm 46 years old. And I'm just trying to share some wisdom with my friends. All right. Here's the culprit. Brother Ryan says, oh, I bought a few boxes off your recommendation. Yes. Yeah. All right. I did not recommend any Gurkha. But, okay, old school. All right, listen. All right. Go get you that Gurkha 12, Cellar Reserve 12 year. That's a good Gurkha. Listen, I recommend, listen, I've smoked enough to know what's good. If you got to get you a Gurkha, and I don't know what Gurkha's done. I guess they did something that made us mad. I don't know. But the Gurkha, they've got, it's called Cellar Reserve 12 year. Those are good cigars. So go ahead and get those. All right. So we just did a quick little show, 2 hours, 16 minutes on Resurrection Sunday. We just did this to help the people out. You don't have to keep chasing that new stuff. I'm not here to share with you the new stuff always. I don't think there's much value in that. I just don't. I don't know how that's going to help you. I think it's great value if I can share with you something that's a little old school. Something that's well-aged. Something you can find. Something at a good price. As I said to my wife on my drive back from church, I said, you know what, the channel, I said, we built it a certain way. I even said, you know what, I probably pissed a lot of people off. And I'm okay with it. There's a lot of people who probably don't watch, who I could have had more views. I could be bigger. But I said, no, I don't want to be bigger. I want to be right. And not right as in, I want to do it the right way. And I'm proud of where the channel is. I gotta be bigger. I could have sat on the fence and just made a big channel. But I want to do something better than that. I want to respect the old school ways. I don't just want to chase after the new stuff. I want to remind us that, look, there's some old school stuff. There's some old school ways. There's some old school cigars. There's some old school ways of thinking. I like who we are. I mean, there ain't no other way to say it. I'm 46. I like Generation X. I like our struggle. I like our quirkiness. I like our dysfunction. I like how we're different than the baby boomers and different than the millennials. I like who we are. I'm cool. Listen, I'm cool with who I am. That's one thing I just got to say. And I encourage everyone, just be happy with who you are. Stop trying to be young. I mean, my God, I can go on a tangent right now. If y'all old heads will stop trying to dress young and look young and act young, that's the most ridiculous thing I ever seen. I hate when I see an old head trying to look young. Listen, all right, I'm gonna go on a tangent. The show about to start. All right, we about to start the show. If y'all old heads, and look, if you over 40 years old, listen, man, I don't care if you get mad or not. If you over 40 years old and you got them jeans with all them patches on it and all, man, if y'all don't stop dressing like that, if you don't start dressing like your age, if you don't stop trying to be hip and listen, I just think we ought to just be who we are. I thought I was gonna be young forever. I was good, but then I woke up one day and I'm like, dang, you an old head now. And I'm like, okay, cool. To the man out here, man, get you some regular jeans. Quit trying to look young. Stop. Just look normal. Your moment has passed. Let these youngins come to you for advice. Quit trying to look like how they look. Quit trying to be as cool as they look. I tried it, man. I went and got me some All Saints t-shirts, and I'm like, yeah, man, I look so ridiculous. My wife's like, what are you wearing? I'm like, yeah, this is the new t-shirt. She's like, you look like a kid. If y'all don't stop wearing these little halter top t-shirts, my friends, man, all right. To be old school is cool, man. I'm cool. I'm in the best health of my life. I'm good. I can outrun everybody. I can outlift anybody. I'm good. But I just think we got to just respect who we are. Respect where we are. If you want to help the next generation, quit trying to look like them. The reason why folks can come to me and get some advice, because I don't look old, but I look like I know what I'm talking about. I carry myself like I know what I'm talking about. And so today I said, all right, well, let's just do an old school cigar show. I ain't gonna tell you no new stuff, no hype stuff. Nah, it's okay to smoke your old school stuff. It's okay to be old school. I'm good with it. We're needed. I'm not an old man. I'm not a young man. It's okay to be who you are. The world needs that. I know I got a whole generation. I got all these youngins looking up to me, and I'm like, dang, you looking at me? All right, okay. It's okay to be who you are. We did this show to say, look, man, let's just be who we are. Our ways are good. So we just did what we call just a plain old school cigar show. Just to have a little fun with it. Next week, I'm doing a show. Oh, next week. Okay, I'm going to get reckless next week. Next week, the show is entitled The Savior of Cigar Content. I'm going to get reckless, controversial. I'm messing with people next week. I'm choosing violence next week. Today I said, all right, let me just go easy. It's Resurrection Sunday. But next week we're going to have some fun. So like I said, we're dropping some content. Be sure to check out the content. Support the content. When you see it, just hit the hype button. Come on. Let's get us where we're supposed to be. We're going to have some fun next week. We loving the content that we're doing. I'm comfortable with who I am and what the channel is. And if we brought you some entertainment, some education, some encouragement tonight, hit like, hit share, hit hype. Hit like on your way out. Just hit the like button. Hit it. We came to do what we came to do. And we had some fun doing it. So like, comment, subscribe. But most importantly, rise and grind.